guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the Time Bomb channel, and something slightly different again for you today. Rather than focusing on a watch, I wanted to focus a little bit on something that I've noticed in the last few weeks as I've been watching a few movies, and that is the product placement of watches. It seems to me recently that it's taken a little bit of a turn, well anyway to my eyes. And the reason for that theory, that conclusion, is based on the fact that last week I watched Extraction with Chris Hemsworth, second time that I've seen it, and I watched it again because I understand that Extraction 2 is on the way, so I kind of wanted to refresh my memory. And then last night I saw Outside the Wire. It's a little bit of a strange movie. The acting is great, characters are fine, but the plot is just like all over the place. So I'm not really sure if I can recommend that one to you. But in both films, G-shocks are visible, and it's not just sort of like the peak under the cuff type of visible. In this one, the watches take centre stage. Now, yes, that I'm aware that Omega have been doing this for a while now, so certainly it's not a new concept, plugging your product through a movie, but my perception is that the watches in the aforementioned movies actually get a lot of very, very specific wrist time. It's like there's wrists everywhere. And as you can see from these images that I'm showing, the watches are so identifiable that there's little room for doubt as to what the model actually is. Now, in the past, as a confessed watch nutter, I used to get a kick out of trying to identify, what the watch on the screen is. You know, they sort of show you something like that, and you're sort of like, oh, what kind of a watch is it? But recently, it seems that the marketeers from several brands have actually seemed to want to make it a lot easier for us to identify what those watches are. I think it's a little bit of a change from the costume departments of the past, who used to select a watch or a watch style, from a particular time period, to complete the image of the character, in the role that they're in. It's curious also to see the price point psychology of these watch placements. Like this one, for example, is a Bremont special edition that came out in the movie The Kingsman. And it's around £20,000 worth of silly expensive. Whereas, for example, others like this $50 Timex, thanks to Matt Damon, being perhaps a little bit more for us, the common men. Another brand that are very good at this placement of watches is Luminox. They pop up like mushrooms all over the place in multiple movies. Again, recent one that I saw was Boss Level with Frank Grillo here. And the opening shot of one scene is actually the watch, just the watch hanging off like a bedpost. I mean, it's so blatant, it's a little bit embarrassing. And then obviously Luminox appeared in the TV series The Boys with Butcher and his Luminox. Their brand identity is very, very clear. It's like spec up, tough guys, etc. And these placements within these series and movies must cost Luminox a ridiculous amount of money, which personally I wonder if it wouldn't be better spent on QC and better lume. I'll leave it there. A couple of others to note that I've spotted in the past are this Nixon Regulus in the latest Terminator. Another recent movie we're here with Charlie Hunnam sporting a Timex Expedition. And then a new brand for me is S&B coming out of the States. Not heard of these guys before, so it's thanks to the movie and them placing it there that so it kind of works in some respects. I like the designs these guys are creating. I might drop them an email. Whilst over here, then in the UK, we've seen on Sherlock Holmes, Rotary, again big presence on that wrist. And lastly, of course, I think one of the most famous ones was Denzel's famous Sunto in the Equalizer movies, which I think is kind of brilliant, or it's kind of ironic if we consider that the rumour mill suggests that the producers or the special effects peeps actually doctored the version of the Sunto core in order to enhance the legibility. So, for example, I haven't got any images here, but there's the Sunto core. The stopwatch is really quite small, but in the movie it's like double or triple the size. So there's my little take on movies and watches featuring in the movies. If this aspect of the watch addiction, the watch rabbit hole appears to you, there's a couple of sites that I've used in the past. Massive thanks to them for their hard work in this area. They are clearly watch nutters. Also, the first one is Watch-ID. To me, it's one of the easiest and the best to use because it's all listed by movies and brand sections, so easy to find what you're looking for. And then there's also product placement blog. They work with all products in movies and TV series, but they also got some very solid watch references here. Also, disclaimer: I don't have any connections with either of them. It's just here for your information and usage. If that's of interest, I'll pop some links down below. So, in conclusion then, does this placement actually then work for you? Have you ever bought a watch because you've seen it in a movie or on TV? Or is it that watches in the movie for you simply perhaps complement the image and the makeup of the character that we're looking at? Anyway, guys, very much look forward to your comments. Let us know down below what your take on this is. And of course, until next time, this is your host, the Bombardier, signing off. Cheers.